see who loses from the MockIT Esports and WABI-SABI. But right now, Alex, our reporter, is standing by with WABI-SABI. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm here with WABI-SABI going up against a very ferocious MockIT team over there. We're going to talk to them a little bit. Hey, gentlemen. I'm going to start with Jay Urban. You know, coming through the regionals, here at the finals, Santa Ana, you're on the big stage on television, and we're hanging out. How you feeling right now, man? Are you feeling good?
I'm feeling pretty good about the game. A little nervous, though, as anyone would be playing two professional players.
Hey, I think you guys can do it. It's been possible. We've seen some upsets here today. Fallen Oak, I want to come over to you now. You know, again, this path coming to this event, what do you guys need to focus on here to try to make this game, to try to pull off an upset against MockIT?
Yeah, we just got to focus on our rotations and have good boost management and just try not to get stuck on our end.
All right, good luck to these guys. We'll have to see what happens in this match.
Go ahead and break down these teams now. As you can see, WABI-SABI here. They're another team looking to break through in the NA scene right now. Jay Urban, a player that has respect from a lot of guys in the top scene right now. But, you know, they haven't really broken through with greater visibility yet. His teammate, Fallen Oak, also someone to look out for. But really, these guys are truthfully going to be underdogs now against MockIT Esports. Now, MockIT Esports, this is a team, of course, that's been virtually synonymous with Rocket League for a long time, but maybe are losing a bit of their luster right now. Pashy, once, of course, one of the very top players, but maybe this is his chance to turn things around and show people that he's still in the top level of elite competition right now. His teammate, Fairpeak, stoic and sturdy, but viewed as one of the top twos players in the game. We do have a lot of French players here. Fairpeak was another French player, used to play with K-Dop, so we'll actually see if the French prowess is able to carry through here between these two teams. But I want to start with MockIT Esports. They're one of the four teams that we expected to be very strong coming from EU, but they have taken a little bit of a step back recently. So what do you expect from these guys? Do you think this is going to be an easy match? Quinn, I'll start with you.
We look right away at the play styles of MockIT, especially Pashy90, mainstay of competitive Rocket League, around since the very beginning. He's a player that loves to play off of the counter attack. He plays incredibly patient, waits to see what the other team likes to do, and tries to capitalize, look for mistakes, look for habits that he can exploit. And so that's going to, I think, play to their advantage, especially against a team that maybe doesn't have the patience or the experience at such a high level, knowing that Pashy's going to be waiting for them. Okay, fair enough. And Wave, let's get your thoughts on this one as well. I don't know what WABI-SABI has to do here. Do they have a shot in this match? Has MockIT fallen enough that they have a chance here mechanically?
I think that this is probably the biggest underdog story we've seen today. If they're able to pull off the upset here, this would be enormous over a team that contains Pashy90, one of the very first World Championship players we ever had. Back before the RLCS, the very first international league we ever had, Pashy90 was actually on the winning team there. He, as you said, a mainstay in professional Rocket League. And at this point, I think they almost have to hope that there's like some jet lag or something going on here with the guys that flew in yesterday, because Pashy90 is an excellent player. Fairpeak, a world championship player as well. These guys are going to have their hands full with MockIT.
All right, fair enough. Let's take a look at how these teams actually got here as well, because, of course, MockIT came through that European Invitational as well. They were semifinalists there, but Gale Force Esports knocked them out 4-0 in a clean sweep in that best-of-7 final. So, obviously a solid team, but Gale Force Esports came to play there. WABI-SABI, on the other hand, they came through the U.S. Open Regional. So these are two teams that we don't have any tape for in the existing regionals that we've seen so far in the Universal Open. So I'll be super excited to see what they bring 2v2.
I think especially looking at WABI-SABI, I mean, you can see they lost to Renegades 4-3. Renegades, a great team here as well. I mean, being able to put up that kind of result speaks to the fact that WABI-SABI is going to be doing, they're going to be a good team here. MockIT doesn't just have the win set up and easy for them. They're going to have to earn it against this WABI-SABI squad.
Fair enough. Wave, something I want to ask you before we get to the game. From the matches we've seen today, have you seen any crazy strats? Any teams that have come with something completely out of the box? Or have these teams mostly just been trying to execute on solid, good fundamental play at this point?
There's Fibian impressed me with some of the plays that they were going for. We saw specifically a goal from Hato where it looked like from any other player there's no angle for him to hit, but he's intentionally committing to this ball up on the backboard where if he misses, he's very far out of rotation and his ball is dropping on top of two other players. So that sort of aggression has been a lot of fun to watch from a team from Fibian there, but I haven't seen anything that have been like, oh, I can't believe that they're actually going for this sort of play. Nothing sizzle your cob level just yet.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see what happens with them in a bit, but right now, actually, we're going to go ahead and start to move into the match here momentarily, but we got to take a look at the lower bracket, because to remind everyone, this is a double elimination tournament, and our first team has officially been eliminated. eliminated. G2 Esports won 2-0 over Incognito, so Incognito has been knocked out of the tournament. G2 Esports moving on to see who is going to drop down from the quarterfinals now from the upper bracket in our next series of games. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get ready for the next match, but do we expect that maybe this is actually going to be a good thing for G2 to come through the lower bracket? Maybe they compete against some lower skill teams or something like that? Any merit to that at all? I mean,
Yeah, that's definitely a true factor. Going through the winner side of the bracket, I mean, you do play against all the best teams, and that can be really difficult. We talked about tilting earlier. You know, it takes one bad series against another good team to perhaps set you off for the rest of the day and just, you know, ruin your performances. So G2, they started off bad, but I guess it can only get better from here, right?
I actually have a conspiracy theory, and that's that Stev and Jazzo were the real ringers for G2, and so they had to put these guys, Kronovi and Rizzo, on a team just to get the waste out of there for a little while. So
yeah, we've had 3 world champions in the RLCS region, and only two of those 3 have come through the lower brackets. There's definitely an argument for going to the lower bracket, just taking care of all the easier teams on your way to the finals and not have to compete against those top-level teams throughout the entirety of the upper bracket.
All right, fair enough. So let's go ahead now and break down this match a little bit further, though, because these are 2 teams that we haven't seen yet. So, Quinn, is there any potential that they have some tricks up their sleeve? They know they don't have a lot of tape on them yet. They might try something crazy here. Or are we not expecting too much different from our first 2 matches?
I think WABI-SABI, while they may not be known by MockIT so much, especially them being a European team, they won't really have seen much of WABI-SABI at all.
Sure.
I think that's going to help them out, but MockIT are so experienced that it's not really going to make the biggest difference for them. Very Peak.
I'm trying to create a narrative here. I'm trying to give them a little bit of credit, man.
If there's anything,
I understand.
If there's anything on the side of WABI-SABI in this situation, it is the fact that basically nobody has seen these guys play. We have no idea what to expect, and while I would be very surprised to see MockIT drop here, it would be so cool to see WABI-SABI come out of the gate swinging.
Fair enough.
I mean, I do want to say, though, that WABI-SABI does have a chance to just come out hot and take this game. Playing defensively in 2v2, we saw that G2 did that at the beginning of the game, just opting to give up on opportunities, and we saw how well that worked out for them, right? So there is something to say for WABI-SABI being able to come out of the gates, just play aggressively, and not really let MockIT dictate the pace of the game.
All right, fair enough. So one more question that I want to ask, though, is in regard to Pashy. So something in James Watt's notes he mentioned was that, you know, this is obviously a player who has massive experience. He's been around the scene forever. He and MockIT, like I said before, have kind of been synonymous with Rocket League for a long time. But is the edge being taken off a bit? Is experience going to be enough here, or has he started to lose his edge a bit, maybe even in 3v3?
I mean, I think that he's such a strong player, and he's known for finding good squads of teammates, and he has been kind of going down. He's a veteran of the old game. He played the prequel, so, you know, they kind of start with that edge, and you have to stay hungry. We see Chicago and Hato, 2 16-year-olds, just coming out of nowhere and playing so well, almost able to take out DapG, and you know, it just kind of goes to show that the gap between the veterans of the old game, the people who have been playing the prequel for thousands of hours, and the ones who just started with Rocket League, that gap is shrinking.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, one of the biggest trends in esports actually has been the fact that a lot of universities are starting to give scholarships, full ride scholarships, as a matter of fact. And esports, or competitive gaming, is a growing trend that has hooked millions across the country. And one game on the rise, of course, is this Rocket League esport, best described as soccer with superpowered cars. But as the sport continues to become more mainstream, there is a university in Chicago that was way ahead of the curve and has helped pave the way for, dare we say, a revolution? Chris Bowden explains.
Let's go, boys! Yeah!
I think people default to just video games thinking that it's Red Bull and staying up all night and, you know, eating 7 Snicker bars.
How would I describe what's going on with esports right now? I'd call it exciting, and I'd call it definitely, it's bordering on a revolution, but it's certainly a movement.
Robert Morris declared itself one of the leaders of that movement as the first school to offer gaming scholarships in the fall of 2014. Entering the 3rd year of that program, the RMU Eagles have seen those initial 35 scholarships triple to 108.
You definitely are met with some skepticism, of course, rolling of the eyes. Are you kidding? It's a video game. But I think that once you talk through the points of the merits of it and how it works, I think that's the biggest part, is breaking through the stereotype of what a gamer is and what esport video games are. The pitch was basically, you know, I compiled a lot of data of, you know, the growing trend. I explained what the game is and what esports are and how they're based in a team and how we could attract some of the better players, I thought, in the nation by providing a scholarship and offer it as a traditional sport. And you know, our president is forward-thinking. I think then he saw the merit of it. He saw how it relates and can be sort of accepted as a same way as a traditional sport, and that's where we are.
The scholarship program centered around the 5 versus 5 game League of Legends, but Rocket League's rise is meteoric, to the point that even a trailblazing program like Robert Morris is quickly adjusting to the game's increasing popularity.
Any esport that has a competitive scene, the whole concept behind the esports program at Robert Morris is to recruit the most talented out of school that want to combine education with professional gaming and try to bridge the gap between going straight from high school to pro. Robert Morris, especially pretty much every esport game, is just trying to bridge that gap. And Rocket League specifically, I know for a fact that we're trying to recruit young talent and see where the Midwest Chicago area is at in terms of Rocket League talent. Once ranked the #1 North American League of Legends player, Daniel Morissette is now an assistant coach at Robert Morris and an experienced Rocket League player. And his coaching philosophy for the 2 versus 2 Rocket League Regional in Chicago would appeal to Buddy Ryan and fans of the Bears' vaunted 46 defense. Defense would be more important because if they basically commit all of their resources to scoring and you defend it, then you have sort of a breakaway. It's very similar in soccer where you'll have a distinct advantage to score. So if you're put in a position where you could be the best defender in the world or the best scorer in the world, I would always pick defender. Whether defense wins the Chicago Regional Championship remains to be seen. But this is certain. There will be no shortage of drama that rivals any 2-minute drill, fast break, or clutch 9th inning at bat.
You want to see the guy steal the base. You want to see the ball stolen mid-pass and then, sent up for the alley-oop from half court for this incredible playmaking experience. And you can have that every game. And every game is different, and the potential is always there.
If you've never done it, it sounds crazy, but just give it a chance with somebody who knows what game kind of that you're watching and walk you through it a little bit. And I think there's a casual fan interest level that's definitely available.
All right, well, it looks like our teams are going to be ready here for the game momentarily. Just to remind you all, it is MockIT Esports versus WABI-SABI. The game's ready. We're going to get started. Let's go ahead and throw things up to our casters, Jorby and James.
Game #1 going to get straight underway here between WABI-SABI and MockIT Esports. WABI-SABI heavy underdogs as we had declared. And they're going to get straight underway here in game #1. Off the face-off. Who will get first advantage here? Well, a quick shot. Not going to be a shot first. Jay Urban wasn't able to find that one. They are in orange, MockIT in blue.
And I'd like to point out that every series so far, the team that the analysts were expecting to win dropped that first game. So here is an opportunity for Jay Urban and Fallen Oak to keep that trend going.
Grabbing that one, Jay Urban. Waiting and just playing it slow, MockIT. Maybe trying to get a little bit of a bait. You see so much baiting opportunities, trying to force the other team into bad positions for challenges. Jay Urban and Fallen Oak work to move it downfield. Keep it away from MockIT here. Can he find his teammate? No. Right now, WABI-SABI do maintain possession of this ball off the ceiling, looking for a shot. He's going to find a really light one, but it hangs towards the box. Can he get the second tap? He gets it. Fallen Oak not able to finish it off, and Jay Urban wanted the shadow, but he can't find it.
Fallen Oak might regret missing that one. That net was so wide open, and he put it high.
You got to capitalize on those opportunities, especially against a team like MockIT Esports. Now a shot backwards, that goes around, and not able to finish that one was Fairy Peak. Fairy Peak is really one of the better 2 players in the world. Expect some flashy plays coming out of him. That's a shot. It's going towards the net. WABI-SABI scores first. Fallen Oak.
Fallen Oak making up for that missed shot earlier, doing it all by himself. Fairy Peak and Pashy both came in close to that one, and Oak, he just launches it right over him for the lead.
There we have it. WABI-SABI scoring first. Said to James Bond that usually the team who we think is going to win struggles in the first game. And right now that early lead is almost squandered, but Fairy Peak and Pashy cannot finish that ball off, and it's still a 1-0 scoreline for WABI-SABI here in the first minute and a half.
Ashley had a chance, tried to pinch that one and get it out into the middle, but it just ended up launching into the corner and actually helping out WABI-SABI.
Jay Urban working the edge of the field. Can he find his buddy? He actually loses it, but no one can get that ball. Fairy Peak finally clears it away. And Fallen Oak gonna stay there in the corner. Fairy Peak just kind of dumps it off, waiting for Pashy. Jay Urban is just gonna be slapped back and forth in the corner. That shot gonna be wide, not even close. The first 2 minutes really kind of uneventful. We had kind of just a pick by Fallen Oak to get that goal, and it's still a 1-0 scoreline.
Yeah, he was able to bait in both of those players, and an excellent back pass from WABI-SABI. They are not intimidated by MockIT whatsoever.
Going up quickly, Passion trying to find some kind of advantage, trying to beat at least one defender and get that advantage. Fairy Peak a shot. Fallen Oak able to make that save. He went all the way with that ball, but MockIT gets that goal. Fairy Peak puts it up into the corner.
Yeah, this was such a smart play. Fairy Peak just cherry picking in front of the net. You saw he tried to bump Jay Urban, had to force Jay Urban in the back, and then he redirects it. It's kind of like a hockey play where you see that a player just sitting in front of the keeper and just gets the deflection. Fairy Peak doing the same thing there and gets that equalizer for MockIT.
And you see it so much more often in threes and not so much in twos where a player just sits in the box. Just throw it to me, I'll throw that one in. So definitely that one cleared off to the side. That's an open net, and Jay Urban gets WABI-SABI right back on top.
Jay Urban, look at this play from him. Fallen Oak getting those touches. Pashy, he had a very weak clear, and Jay Urban just jumps on that opportunity and does not miss it. But again, that was a poor touch from Pashy.
Well, MockIT down again quickly after tying the game up. About 2 minutes left to go in game number 1. In midfield, it's going to be Fairy Peak taking it.
Oh!
And then he makes one miss. What a fake by Fairy Peak. WABI-SABI able to get it down towards midfield. Fairy Peak, a little sick of falling.
And that's another term you'll want to know is the mind game.
Yeah.
Fairy Peak just completely faking out that player.
MockIT going to take it from their own corner. It's going to be Fairy Peak. Getting it past one defender, is rotating back to net. Jay Urban trying to get this one down, but Pashy who has him beat way to the ball. The ball falling towards the box. A little dangerous here for WABI-SABI. There's a quick passing play coming up for Fairy Peak, going down against the backboard. Can he finish it? No. 1:30 left to go. Still a 2-1 scoreline. 1 goal advantage here for WABI-SABI. Can they hang on? This MockIT still pushing this back towards the net. Fairy Peak and Pashy gets to the back wall. Fairy Peak in support. Find something, but Pashy had to rotate out to get boosts. Just playing a little safe here. Still a minute left.
And that was a fantastic block by Jay Urban. Now we see that 1v1 chance. This Fairy Peak getting him by.
No. Jay Urban's right there. Jay Urban has been so good on the defensive end here for WABI-SABI. Fallen Oak looked like he was going to go for that one. That was probably the longest distance fake I think I've ever seen. 45 seconds left to go. WABI-SABI keeping it over on MockIT's end of the field. That ball hanging into the box, trying to wrap it around. Fairy Peak gets it out towards midfield. Pashy in the wing. Fairy Peak against the back wall, looking for that opportunity and played nicely by Jay Urban. Now moving downfield, he's got a one-on-one opportunity, tries to force it up into the top corner, cannot find it. 25 seconds left to go. Can WABI-SABI find this, or is MockIT gonna tie it up? Fairy Peak finishes it off. It's 2-2.
Overextension from the defense. Fallen Oak, he did not get the greatest hit there, and you see Pashy just driving that one downfield. Fairy Peak just ensuring that goes in. Just 21 seconds left, and MockIT ties it up.
MockIT able to tie it up, like you said, 2-2. Can WABI-SABI get that advantage again, or are we gonna have overtime between these two squads in game number 1? That shot is sick. What? It hit the post. Fairy Peak not able to finish that one off and really sealed game number 1 for MockIT. And time is ticking down. Fairy Peak trying to find Pashy. He cannot. This ball still in the corner.
Another
touchdown.
Overtime. This is what, 4 overtime games in a row?
It just, the competition is so tight right now, and WABI-SABI is making MockIT have to run the field, run end to end to get these goals. Can WABI-SABI come up on top? In game number 1, it would definitely be. And the upset advantage and able to stay on the ball is Fallen Oak. MockIT, another opportunity, by the way.
Jay Urban, it looked like he accidentally backflipped. We call that a feels backflip, man, but Pashy still wasn't able to put that in.
Here comes Pashy, forcing his way in there, trying to cause chaos almost a breakaway opportunity there for Jay Urban. He stays on the ball, could not find that tap. Fallen Oak keeps it on the defense, on the attacking third of the field. But MockIT keeping it away from the net. That shot, is that going in? No, it's way wide from the other end. And now, 50 seconds into this overtime, MockIT gonna take control. Throwing it downfield. That's a bad touch, and that shot goes over and knocked down. MockIT still cannot find this ball. Jay Urban running around here, back and forth between these guys. Who's gonna break, James? It's just,
It's just one mistake. We actually have seen WABI-SABI make some mistakes that MockIT wasn't able to capitalize on. So we'll see how this plays out. WABI-SABI, the true underdog, might be able to steal one here.
Oh, and trying to find it there, Fallen Oak. Clearing it away. Still MockIT. Both players almost committing to that. Here comes Fairy Peak trying to force a play, and Fairy Peak can do some ridiculous things against the back wall. A lot of players can do some ridiculous things, and speaking of ridiculous things, Pashy can not find his way towards the net. He does keep control of the ball. Fairy Peak shoots and he splits the defenders, and MockIT wins game number 1.
Pashy just maintained control of that ball, blasted off the wall, and Fairy Peak angles his car to just absolutely hammer that ball 77 miles an hour. That was a rocket right on target, and MockIT take game 1.
You gotta give credit to WABI-SABI on defense against this MockIT squad. MockIT had to force everything to get into the back of the net. They went down by 1-2 times in this game, and I don't think anyone expected that at all.
Fallen Oak, he had 5 saves that game. 13 shots in total for MockIT. They had shot after shot after shot, and Fairy Peak, we talked about how he might be up there as the top 2v2 player in the world. He proved it here with that hat trick and that overtime winner.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think WABI-SABI is going to bring MockIT. It would not be a surprise to me if they take game number 2. You look at some of the highlights here. Fallen Oak getting that pick, that's just taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes.
But
and that shot right there, Fairy Peak is just, in the box is so dangerous.
Yes.
A great player. And coming right back though, Jay Urban was just a great wraparound.
Yeah, Jay Urban, I think it's really important for those guys to not get intimidated in the first game. You know, talking with him earlier, Garrett G is one of his idols. He looks at these pro players as you know, he's fans of them. So to be a competitor against them now, that can psych you out, but they came out and played phenomenally well. However, Fairy Peak, he was just too good this game and got that overtime.
I can tell you that Jay Urban is absolutely stoked to be here. When I talk to him, he's just like, I honestly can't believe I'm here at all. This is absolutely ridiculous. And to be able to go the distance in overtime against MockIT, like that's got to be an uplifting feeling if you're both Jay Urban and Fallen Oak going into game 2.
Yeah, they were able to score first. That just puts you at ease. You know, when you're coming into a match where you feel like you might be a little bit outmatched and you get that first goal and you have that lead, you really start to feel like, hey, we can actually do this. Let's just play defense, try to get that counterattack, and we saw that working for them. They did make a few mistakes that MockIT didn't punish them for, but still they kept it very, very close. So we might see a surprise. WABI-SABI, they kept that one within striking distance pretty much the entirety of the match.
Well, we've seen upset potential all day here so far during this tournament, and it will not be a surprise at this point if WABI-SABI is able to force the rubber match. But game number 2 going to get underway as our players take their sides of the field. Can WABI-SABI tie this series up, or will MockIT move on in the winner's side of the bracket? This game going to get underway, and really, I mean, Jay Urban and Fallen Oak on defense, I think that's going to be key for them to really, if they can minimize mistakes, they will probably take this.
Yeah, and they did a good job of making the most of the mistakes from MockIT. Pashy had a few poor touches, and Jay Urban put those in the back of the net.
What a tap up here as cannot find the connection. That was a great setup and unfortunately could not finish, and it's going to result in a quick goal by MockIT.
MockIT taking advantage of the mistakes this time. A whiff from Fallen Oak left the net vulnerable, and Pashy, you know, 33 miles an hour, that's not a blistering shot by any means, but it was enough on target. And now MockIT an early lead in game 1, or game 2 rather.
WABI-SABI was the one to strike first in game 1. So MockIT with the advantage. Gotta feel like they can just pressure you at that point, but quickly trying to tie this game back up, Fallen Oak off the crossbar 1-1.
And Pashy escorting this ball into the net. Jay Urban, he dropped that down right for Fallen Oak, which was great. This ball wasn't actually going in, but Pashy there pinching that with the crossbar, put it in his own net. A little bit of a break, and now 20 seconds in, 2 goals for 2 goals in this game. This one still proven to be neck and neck.
2 times in 20 seconds, Jay Urban has teed it down or teed it up for Fallen Oak. I feel like Jay Urban is just the ball boy for Fallen Oak on the golfing course. It just feels like that way for Jay Urban. He's had some great setups for his teammate, and now WABI-SABI trying to find an advantage, and another mistake over rotation. Fairy Peak gets the goal, 2-1 for MockIT.
Adding some style here. Look at this one. Pesci winning that 50-50, a wide open net for Fairy Peak. He actually scoops it.
Oh, that's cool.
That's called a musty flick.
The musty flick, yeah.
He musty flicked that ball right
cool.
out of the air.
It's great to see. Fun stuff. MockIT up 2-1. Not even a minute gone. We could be in store for a shootout, or it might be a domination if Fallen Oak and Jay Urban kind of go by the wayside mentally. This is where your mental fortitude comes in play. You're down against MockIT. You know you can hang against them. You just got to take advantage of this ball going over to WABI-SABI's side of the field. Can MockIT keep control of this ball?
Oh, and another
round midfield. Yeah, Pesci really tapping this one high, which can be so deadly, but playing maybe a little bit safe as WABI-SABI. This ball cleared off the backboard, good defense, and then booming it is Pesci.
That was a great
Speaking of backboard defense, Jay Urban just slaps it back to midfield.
Yeah, and defending that backboard is so important. If you let a ball bounce out without touching it into the middle, you're asking to get scored on. So you'll see a lot of players, yes, a shot is not anywhere close to the net, but defensive players still do not want to let that ball bounce off unchallenged.
WABI-SABI just trying to keep the ball away from MockIT. It's played right back in. Coming down is Fairy Peak. He's bullied away, and that ball cleared away by Fallen Oak, but Jay Urban off the ceiling. Pesci could not find that ball again, and just feel like that ball is just bouncing so high by itself in WABI-SABI's box. Going under, there's Pesci's ball for in. It is 3-1 for MockIT Esports.
And it looked like Fairy Peak actually wave dashes here, maybe. No, he just jumps up, tries to pressure that ball through himself, and the rebound ends up rolling right out to Pesci, and MockIT starting to run away with this one.
Yeah, a 2-goal lead now. I would say, just like they do in hockey, that a 2-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in Rocket League. You can start to feel a little comfortable, but all it takes is 1 goal to really swing the momentum one way. We know Jay Urban and Fallen Oak are capable. We saw what they can do in game 1, but right now just kind of losing control. They can also they might overcommit because they feel like they have to catch up. And MockIT rolling it downfield yet again, a demo coming out. We're approaching the halfway point. MockIT with a 2-goal lead. And just playing it away. That's a bad touch, but he stays with it. He meant to do that. Just
perhaps.
Keep the ball away. That's a shot. He goes around. That is a pick right over towards the 18. Fallen Oak ties the game up.
Yeah, so that one surprising. Fairy Peak, you know, they played around with that ball too much in their own half. That touch must have been a mistake. And Fallen Oak, again, capitalizing on that misplay from MockIT, and they are right back in this.
It is 3-2 MockIT Esports. Off the face-off, Fairy Peak just throws it downfield. Now a shot, looking for the net, and just coming up with it is Fallen Oak. Moving down, Jay Urban trying to play the bully. He does come up with the ball here, but he turns away. Fallen Oak in support, still keeps it on MockIT's side of the field. WABI-SABI has plenty of time to work with that shot off the crossbar. Fairy Peak not able to find it. He's been the point man in this game, or this series, just throwing all of those shots in places that are hard to get. What a pick by Jay Urban in the box. It's a tie game.
Jay Urban just continues to hustle after this ball, gets that touch, using his boost. That was 100% intentional. Got right over there to get that dunk over the defender, and we're all tied up.
It took no longer than 35 seconds to tie this game up after Jay Urban and Fallen Oak were down by 2. But MockIT Esports looking to try to take the lead yet again. Here, Fairy Peak looking maybe for Pesci against the back wall. Really just buying time for a boost, which he finds. Still, Fairy Peak forced back as that one's knocked back to the defensive third of MockIT. Pinching it against the backboard, back wall. WABI-SABI. Can they get the lead here? Trying to force that one in, but Fairy Peak able to make the save and going for boost there. Interesting decision. Allows Fallen Oak to keep that ball in play. This move downfield by MockIT, sailing down towards the net, save by Jay Urban. A minute left to go, still tied up between WABI-SABI and MockIT. Coming up to play the bully, cannot find the ball.
Yeah, this one's coming down to the wire yet again. These past 2 series, we've seen 4 back-to-back overtime games. We might see a 5th. These opponents so evenly matched.
On the side wall, again, WABI-SABI losing this game. They will be sent to the loser's bracket. The shot is going to get on the crossbar. Jay Urban, the double tap to take the lead, 4-3.
You see FACEIT gets caught up on the post right there, couldn't make the play, and Jay Urban following that ball yet again, hustling to get that goal, and now they are in position to take game 2.
WABI-SABI has scored 3 unanswered goals against MockIT Esports, and with not a lot of time left, they may win this game number 2, but that ball sailing towards the net. Fallen Oak had to work real hard to get back. Jay Urban, a critical demo in order for WABI-SABI to get control, making 1 miss, cannot make the 2nd miss. And time is ticking down. MockIT has to score here, wanting to do it smartly and not just give up another goal to WABI-SABI. That ball barely cleared away and saved by Pashi. That one towards the box. Can they keep this in play? Just working end to end. WABI-SABI, less than 10 seconds left. Will they win game number 2? Finding the ball. MockIT cannot tie the game. Time is running out and it is still in the air. Not quite over just yet. The ball has to touch the ground. MockIT still in control.
And that's
there it is, game number 2. Going to WABI-SABI.
WABI-SABI, they stay alive. The underdogs coming in to play against a powerhouse European team, and they do it. They stay alive.
I just 8 shots on net by WABI-SABI. They didn't outshoot their opponents, but that output of offense is so good, and we saw their defense. It was pretty decent. 3 saves, and a lot of those shots, though, that were registered were FACEIT hitting the crossbar or the post, and you'll see like some of that was just the mistakes that Jay Urban and Fallen Oak made early cost them some of these goals that MockIT scored.
Yeah, but like you said, 2 goals is a dangerous lead. Despite the fact that MockIT got out to that lead, you know, WABI-SABI answered right back, and even that musty flick style goal that we saw from FACEIT, we were expecting this one to be all MockIT, but again, you have to credit these underdogs in WABI-SABI. Jay Urban and Fallen Oak did not give up. And really, MockIT made some mistakes that allowed him to get right back into this game.
I love, everyone loves an underdog story, right?
Oh, yeah.
But, and then again, no one has really seen this WABI-SABI squad play against high-tier, high-level players, and they're showing you what they can do to even qualify for the Universal Open. They beat Satu and Jay Bismarck, who are very, very solid players on high-level teams. And in game number 3 here, WABI-SABI can definitely beat MockIT Esports, and that would be our biggest upset of the day.
Yeah, and Jay Urban especially, he had 2 hustle goals where he did not give up on the play. Normally, that ball is not in a position where you can put it in the back of the net, but he did not give up. He got that dunk to get the goal, and then we saw him following up that shot after FACEIT got stuck on the corner. WABI-SABI, they can do this.
They can do it, and game number 3 gonna get underway. And both teams went for a fake kickoff here, but MockIT can't find the net. It's still bouncing around. Can somebody find it? It gets away, and WABI-SABI somehow gets that ball away from the box in the scoreline. You think it should be 1-0 MockIT, and it still might be here, but they work the end and keep the ball out of the net.
You have to wonder if getting that close without scoring is going to tilt MockIT in this game. Such an important one. Whoever wins this stays alive in the upper bracket.
Now MockIT going up, going over, off the post, can't find it. Another shot. Oh, save! Bounces it up, Fallen Oak, and then Jay Urban makes another save. Great goaltending coming out of WABI-SABI to keep the scoreline at 0 still. 45 seconds in, and we've had almost a game's worth of shots by MockIT, who just cannot find the back of the net.
Unbelievable defense from WABI-SABI as they continue to fight. But this might be
there
too much
it is.
as FACEIT, the pressure from MockIT now overflows and they get that first goal, but still, what a performance so far by WABI-SABI on the defensive end.
And you can have great goaltending like that, but the next step is being able to get that clear and giving MockIT opportunity after opportunity. Eventually it's gonna find the net, and now MockIT finds himself, again, another 1-goal lead, but if we have anything to learn from this series, we can't really count WABI-SABI out at all.
WABI-SABI will not give up. We see that they are chasing down every ball to the best of their ability, going for every block, giving it everything they have.
working in there was Fallen Oak, just keeping it away from both MockIT defenders, just not letting them give that clear potential. Like you said, just going for every conceivable ball that they can go for, and still challenging it in their own end. Just MockIT has to work for these. We're a minute and a half in. MockIT still up 1-0. And the winner of this match moves on to up higher in the winner's bracket. They're down to losers. And an easy save for J Urban High. Here comes Pashy looking for Fairy Peak. The shot, the goal, 2-0.
Yeah, the shots continue to pile on. We're just under 2 minutes into this game, and already 8 shots for MockIT. Fairy Peak just blasted that one in. But what were you gonna say? It's a huge amount of shots.
I mean, it's a few shots. It's, you know, plenty of time has gone, James.
8 shots.
In reality,
to
that's
1.
absolutely ridiculous for this amount of time gone in the game. There's a shot and a save, but coming straight down, cannot find the back of the net and running, shooting. But it's blocked. It's 2 minutes gone. And MockIT, well, they're sick of WABI-SABI now. They just want to score as many goals as they can and make sure they can't come back. We saw them up by 2 before, and that lead was squandered. Forcing it over was J Urban. Still, Fallen Oak. The shot actually thrown away. Fairy Peak and Pashy moving it out downfield. MockIT looking for another scoring opportunity. We're approaching the halfway point in this game. It's slowed down a little bit. For WABI-SABI, that shot is knocked away by Pashy. He's not able to find as many opportunities as game number 2. Gets the back wall. Throwing it around, but MockIT there for every challenge. Good rotations, keeps possession of the ball. Throwing it downfield, no recovery there on the back wall. But challenged allows MockIT to take control of their own corner. 2 minutes left, James Bond. And WABI-SABI, it's a flip now. MockIT is playing great defense, limiting the amount of shots on net that Fallen Oak and J Urban can try to put on.
But we've seen WABI-SABI just pounce on the 1 or 2 mistakes that MockIT makes. So they're still in this one, and they can bring this one back. They just have to chip away at this MockIT defense.
They're running out of time to do so, and MockIT's moving downfield. Fairy Peak just gonna have to reset up for Pashy. Pashy still stays on this ball, actually gets a tap towards WABI-SABI's mark. For a pass, maybe actually just a light shot towards the net by Fallen Oak. Now J Urban gonna take control, getting it down. It's still not really an angle that either WABI-SABI team members found. And now there's about a minute left. They gotta score quickly. Now, as mentioned, they were down by 2, and when they scored their first goal to come back, they scored within 20 more seconds. So they feel like if they had that much time, if they score their first goal, they could come back. But MockIT just hasn't allowed the opportunities. They haven't made mistakes. There's not a lot of time left. There's a tap right down. J Urban to Fallen Oak. He can't find the shot.
And now a breakaway.
And can he find it? He does. It's going to be 3-0.
This was a mistake here, an overcommitment. They had to throw everything they could at the net. However, Fallen Oak just couldn't hit the shot, and when he missed that one, it left the net wide open for Pashy. And now MockIT, a 3-goal lead, under a minute left. This is an uphill battle for WABI-SABI.
I don't care if you're grand champion or bronze, a 3-0 lead with 45 seconds left is nigh impossible to come back from. It just tells the story of how the game has gone. Things can flip at the moment of a switch, but just not looking good here for WABI-SABI. It's time ticking down, 30 seconds left. The 4th goal will all but probably seal this one for MockIT.
This European team really showing why their region is believed to be the best. Pashy just chasing that ball down, using up all his boost for it. And now 4-0, MockIT just trouncing WABI-SABI in game 3.
You feel like maybe that game 2 when WABI-SABI came back, maybe MockIT wasn't playing as fast as they could. I mean, Fairy Peak was making some ridiculous shots onto the net, but then like, these guys can come back. These guys are for real. We just got to give it our 110% and move on. Otherwise, we might lose this game.
Yeah, it's just the nature of those best of 3s. A lot of times teams need a little bit of time to warm up. Oh, that's going to be enough. Pashy, he was going for more. He wanted to flick this behind him.
I call this walking the dog. Just throw it up a little bit and then
just let it slide.
Just let it slide in. Don't even touch. Let him walk home.
Pashy getting his second, or no, that's a hat trick for him, his 3rd goal of the game.
And they've had, what was that, 12 shots on net and only 5 Yeah, 12 shots on net there for MockIT Esports and only 5 for WABI-SABI, and that kind of offensive differential will get you the scoreline that we saw, and the game is over. MockIT Esports will be staying in the winner's bracket, moving on as WABI-SABI falls down. And again, another team we might not have expected to come out strong. They might make some waves in the loser's bracket.
Absolutely. And just taking a look at the stats here again, 12 shots to just 5 for WABI-SABI. They fought valiantly. They took that game too. They really did a phenomenal job coming in as such an underdog, but still, it wasn't enough. MockIT was just too good.
That's right. Okay, so we got to break down that game a little bit because really, honestly, WABI-SABI played very well in the first couple of games. And Quinn, something you were saying was don't let that, shutout try to cloud your vision or anything like that in the last game, because they had to take some risks. They had to find a way back into the game. Break that down for me. Let me know how you thought that WABI-SABI did here.
Right, I thought WABI-SABI did, admirably. Really great performance, and it looked like they were actually they weren't controlling the matches in any sense. It seemed like MockIT at all points had just total control over the game. Their final touch wasn't really coming through for them, and so we saw them struggling a lot to finish the ball, and then we saw Jay Urban especially, shout-outs to him. He performed incredibly, so many great counterattack goals and so much pressure. It was just, at the last game, we need to take those risks and to make something happen. So that 5-0 scoreline, I don't think that's accurate compared to the storyline of the actual match.
Fair enough. And real quick, Wave, I want to follow up on something with you, because some of the casters said it looked like maybe in that game too that we saw MockIT pull off the gas a little bit, maybe didn't try as hard as they should have. Is that fair to WABI-SABI? Did they earn that victory, or was it MockIT pulling off a little bit there?
They definitely played very well. I was very impressed with the WABI-SABI defense. I thought that especially in the beginning of Game 3, we saw some massive performances from them. But the thing we didn't see in Game 2 that I think was the key to MockIT's victory was the Pashy to Fairy Peak connection. We've seen Pashy pass in the middle, Fairy Peak taking the shot. Wasn't doing that as often here in Game number 2, and that's when we saw them get the victory.
All right, well, let's actually take a look at the highlights here, because at the very beginning, there were some nuts saves from WABI-SABI, and to be honest, that was pretty consistent in games 1 and 2. They had solid defense.
Yeah, they did a really good job at neutralizing a lot of what Pashy and Fairy Peak were trying to do. This is the first time we saw Fairy Peak actually begin to change up his approach on the goal. This is another great goal. It was the more unorthodox setups that seemed to be successful for this MockIT squad.
Yeah, but it was just Pashy at the end here gets the breakaway into the end to just put the nail in the coffin, basically. And at that point, as you said, we saw WABI-SABI just trying to get anything done, and so they were making mistakes on the defense because they had to push up on the offense. But it really was those first 3 goals that kind of defined this last game here. And that second one was my favorite. The Pashy coming off of the corner, out to Fairy Peak, and getting the goal in.
All right, well, let's go ahead and head down to Alex right now, who's standing by with the winners.
All right, let's give it up for MockIT. Yeah, I love this crowd. This crowd is awesome here at the Esports Arena. These guys came all the way from Europe, and I want to start with Fairy Peak over here. Can you talk to me about that trip, coming all the way to Santa Ana, and then talk me through that series a little bit too on how you're feeling?
Yeah, so we didn't have a lot of time to get used to this time zone. So personally, since 1 week I slept like at 10 a.m. in Europe. And so now I'm a bit used to the time zone, and we just play like, we did 4 scrim of best of 7, and so we were good to play here. Yeah. And so the team against us was, like, I really didn't know them, but they had so good defense that was a bit frustrating with you shot good and they just clear the ball away, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, it seemed y'all were getting in a really nice groove there in Game 3. I want to come over to Pashy over here to talk particularly about DAPG. You're going up against Dapper and Garrett G next. I want to get your thoughts on that, and maybe some thoughts on the other teams in this tournament and how you think you stack up against them.
They're probably the best NA team with Cloud9, so it's going to be really tough to play against them. I said from the beginning that probably Cloud9, Gale Force, and DAPG, that's the name. They're probably the hardest opponents for us. So yeah, it's going to be a really tough match to play against them.
Well, I'm really excited for that match to see how that unfolds. Let's give it up one more time for MockIT as they try to make a run here at the Universal Open.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at our bracket as things have updated now. We know 4 of our teams that have advanced into the upper bracket quarterfinals: Ambition Esports, Gale Force Esports, DAPG, and MockIT. Soon enough, though, we'll see what comes up next. later on, the West Regional winners and the most fun-loving team of the tournament, Sizzle Your Cobb, take the stage. But up next, Team Splice from the Midwest region, including Karma, our only female competitor in the tournament.